Good morning, this is Hajin Lee. Beautiful Sunday morning in the East Coast here. I wanted to take some time to align, especially the new readers, and as well as existing readers and followers, to the big picture of Bitcoin analysis. So this is not like hourly counts or sub-daily counts. This would be the daily to weekly to monthly, maybe even annual, yearly perspective. So here, I had shown this several times. I had been calling for the wave 3 top. This wave 3 top. I had accurately called wave 4 bottom, pretty close to it. And at around $3,600, $3,700 as we were approaching higher highs, I had put out a post saying wave 3 is approaching, that the top of wave 3 is approaching. And sure enough, we did. And then I had warned that we are now approaching wave 4 correction, and that this wave 4 will most likely reach prior wave 4 price region. So Bitcoin is about to, or might be done with the wave 4. And there will be a massive rise on a wave 5. And in this chart, wave 5 is not being shown as extended. If you review my past videos of individual cryptos, I often point out extended fifth waves. I fully expect this fifth wave to most likely be extended. And then there will be a correction. I want to put this in a different perspective. From an Elliott wave analysis, I can count 1, 2, 3, well, 4 is here. Sorry, I cut it off. And then 5. And you might be looking at this thinking, okay, we just finished wave 3 top. We're in the process of approaching wave 4 bottom, if it hasn't yet. And here I've extended the wave 5th. And if wave 5 becomes extended, my target is around 7,000 to 9,000 per Bitcoin. This wave 5 will go in an impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manner to give 5 or 5 or 5. The tippy top. And what happens after every 5 wave impulse? A requisite 3 wave correction ensues. And in my experience, the ABC usually retraces to the level of wave 4. And that from a Fibonacci could be 0.5, 0.618, somewhere in that range. And if wave 4 was here, that would be near sub 500. Timing wise, when could this happen? For now, Q2, Q3 of 2018. I have received comments from other Elliotticians saying what I'm doing is ignoring the Genesis era. because this linear chart de-emphasizes the Genesis era of the price chart. Good point. Good point. But let me just review this before I go into the next one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once we finish this, and then I subdivided wave 5 into the minor, and the minute scales. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this 3 has been placed to put in. We're going on 4. And the massive potential and profit to be made on 5 or 5 or 5 is what is so delicious here. We made a lot of money from the bottom of July, and rode this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. And when I saw this 5th, 4, 3, 4, and then 5th was happening, I said 5 of 5 is always time to take profits. And in real time, I blogged the first 1/3 tranche sale of my Bitcoins, then the second 1/3, and the remaining 1/3. Not everyone got triggered, so I still have some Bitcoins. But massive profits of 70% plus from here to here were gained. Where do you get that in stocks? Maybe in options, but I don't really play in options anymore. And once this wave 4 is complete, it'll be this rise will be a fractal of this, but at a higher degree, bigger scale, because it'll be extended, in my opinion. So we're going to see, as we saw here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 to 9,000 buckaroos, maybe a little higher. I don't know. We'll see how. Once newer all-time highs are made, we'll see how the vigor, the strength of its vigor might be. And then there will be a massive correction. So let's focus on this a little bit on the next one. And go back to a commentator who astutely noticed that prices from the Genesis era were not being maybe properly taken into account. So I took the logarithmic chart from the Genesis era, and therefore you don't see a flatlining effect like you did here. And then I did an Elliott wave count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are here. We corrected. We'll wave 3, 4, and 5. Someone might be saying, well, at this point, you should stand aside. Stand aside and just watch. Good point. Can do. But I'm going to take the ride for this profit potential first. And at 5 of 5, 5 of 5 of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, when I'm on the 5th wave, 5 of 5 of 5, I'll be laddering my exit. And I will post that in real time as well. Especially as the rungs get filled also. So again, a logarithmic chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is not priced correctly from the projections that I'm making now. Consider the top of this as the projection point. Top of where wave 5 is. So say 7 to 9,000. And after 5 waves is a requisite ABC. And the C goes towards the prior wave 4 price range. This ABC does not look as massive in a logarithmic chart, does not look as a massive crash like it does here. It gives you a different perspective. That looks like a regular correction. But from a dollar to dollar perspective, sub 500, to be more accurate, 130-ish. And you might be thinking, WTF? Are you nuts hedging? You're calling for Bitcoin to go back to 130? And my response is, you're looking at it the wrong way. So let's say you did take your profits here, and then you go cash. Maybe buy some put options from whomever is selling it. Stand aside and watch the fiasco. Watch the blood on the streets. Watch the death call for Bitcoin from the mainstream media coming through. I can assure you, on the down slope of wave A, you will get all that negativism. And then during the temporary B rise, you will see a lot of people saying, the bottom's in, FOMO will set on. Many will say, all's good, all's clear, blue skies ahead, only to be crushed by another wave of crushing defeat, like despair type of losses. And people will be in disbelief, disgusted. Sentiment overall throughout the cryptosphere, whether Bitcoin or any altcoin, will be utter disgust for anything having to do with cryptos. That is the sentiment that I'd be looking for. As a true contrarian, in following the maestro, the oracle of Omaha, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. How true, how true. And when despair sets in, we will think, we will have the emotional maturity, the wherewithal of psychology to look at this, and we will not be hurt. Because when this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, during the 5th wave, we will be taking all our profits. We will be in cash, on the sidelines, watching the death march towards the guillotine happen to those who did not take their profits. And once the ABC set in, the way I see it is, what a buying opportunity that'll be. My gosh, if you missed it here, there's another one coming. And I'm thinking 2018, this could happen. And the fundamental analysts will say, well, what good is Elliott wave except to perfectly count the past? In my opinion, to that is they are uninformed. They must have been hurt badly from a loss when they followed somebody or they tried on their own Elliott waves. And from that loss, instead of becoming a cynic, which is very natural, very human thing to do, they should have maybe tried to learn from that experience and try to better it. That's why I always say I offer tonnages, tons of failure experiences. And to me, Elliott waves allows you to take a peek around the corner, because everything moves in waves and cycles. And an Elliott wave is nothing more than one method of measuring those ebbs and flows of the cycles. And that is why Elliott wave, just like every other technical analysis out there, except for maybe Cliff High, every technical analysis I know of that I've tried is based on Fibonacci ratios, and the universe moves in Fibonacci ratios. That's why they call it the golden ratio. And we know that in Elliott waves, 5 waves means a requisite ABC correction. Once this is in, there will be a massive correction towards a massive buying opportunity. So if you took your profits here and you wait this cycle and you ladder in, you scale in your buys from, let's say, 100 to 500, and you patiently wait, because what's after an ABC correction? The resumption of the original trend. That's how I see it. And yeah, this targeting $27,000. If you buy it at 120 to 500, let's say 130 to 500, and hold it. This is when you do hodl. My goodness. Here's the same chart of the logarithmic Bitcoin price chart since the genesis. And I'm showing this because some people like to argue. They will come on your site and say, I don't agree with your count. You counted the wrong way. This is how it should be. And my response is, you're right, you win, move on. I see no point in arguing which count is correct. Because more often than not, here's a different count. I call this the fifth. But here's a different way of counting the exact same chart. 1, 2, 3, ABC, expanded ABC, 4, and 5 to 27,000. The terminal point is no different. We both get there. There are many ways. All paths lead to heaven, one way or another, in Elliott waves. And if they want to see it as this, perfect. Absolutely correct. Nothing wrong with it. And in fact, as I've pointed out in many of my blog posts, expanded flats are quite common. And especially when wave 2 here was ABC, probably zigzag. The rule of alternation between 2 and 4, between zigzag and a flat, makes sense too. Absolutely correct. But the end point will probably be the same. Maybe a difference in scale. That's all. So this is my big picture. The C wave will take it down to a sizable decrease, correction in both counts. And this is my big picture analysis. Don't lose sight of this. I always refer to this. I always look at this. At 5:05 here, I will be pounding the table, saying now is not the time to buy. Now is the time to be taking profit selling actions. But we're not there yet. Let's first navigate this. I hope this has been helpful. If you found this helpful as well, please consider upvoting, following, re-steaming. And if you really found it helpful, please consider promoting it. I'd like to see if I can get greater visibility to the free service of technical analysis that I provide to as many out there in the cryptosphere. I think some, if not a good number of people have been scammed in the ICOs. Maybe I can help them to augment their own due diligence as well. As always, I wish you all massive profits. Thank you.